Hey folks, hope you're having a great Friday. I'm off today, so I'm enjoying today. Thought I would pop on and talk about, because I get asked this question, and I thought I would answer it for how I do it. So, how do I know I'm doing the will of God? I get asked that question, and I thought I would answer it by what I do and how I know my actions are lining up with what God would want me to do. So, they talk about a couple of things. First of all, I'm a big believer in affirmations. And what is an affirmation? It's really, and I store these in my iPad. These are simple one sentences or a phrase, and they're things that are important to me. So it's a one sentence phrase or just a one sentence for my health, for work, for my career, for my mental sanity, things I want to do with my family, things that I want to do and help my children. So it's just one sentence statements in a lot of these different areas. And I write them down and they stay in my iPad. And what I do is I incorporate them into my centering prayer practice. So before I begin my silent sit, and as much as possible, I do two per day. So the first one is in the morning. So before I do my sit, I read my affirmations and then I let them go and I give them to God and I do my sit. So I consider it really I'm partnering with God on my affirmations, and I'm even letting go of my affirmations during my centering prayer sit, because that's what we do during centering prayer. We let go of thoughts, emotions, anything that engages us and open to the presence and actions of God within. So I give them to God and I let them go. Now, when you think about these actions, these affirmations I've written down, what is my barometer to know that it's something that I should work on? Couple different things. One, if it excites me, it's exciting and it feels that I should be doing it. There's an inner peace or calmness about the affirmation. Some of them are outside of my comfort zone and I challenge myself. So, is it outside of my comfort zone and I'm expanding my comfort zone? Because I'm not going to grow unless I move out of my comfort zone. And lastly, I just want to make sure whatever it is isn't going to harm me or harm others. So that's my barometer when I look at my affirmations. Does it excite me? Is it outside of my comfort zone? And is it going to help me grow? Do I still have a sense of inner peace about it? And even though it might scare me because it's outside of my comfort zone, it doesn't mean don't do it. And again, I just want to make sure it's not going to harm me or harm others, that it is something that I'm going to move forward on and take action. And really, most importantly, I mean, we can spend a ton of time reading and planning and plotting, but the only way things happen are as if you take action. So clarity comes with action. If you don't do anything, nothing happens. So you need to move forward and the path becomes more clear. You might have an endpoint in mind. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You simply need to know what is the next step that I need to take. So that's a little bit about my affirmations. That's a little bit about how I use them with centering prayer. And then that's a little bit about my barometer of is it a affirmation that I should move forward on. So when I think about my centering prayer sits, I sit with God and then I get up and I walk with God. My sits help me become the person God wants me to become, my true self, which is a journey with no endpoint. And that's the exciting part. I grow into my true self, and my true self is a continuous journey. So my true self over the next year is going to look different than my true self 5 years out, and 10 years out, and 15 years out, and 20 years out. And that's the exciting part is you're never done becoming your true self while you're living on this earth. Another thing you can do is silent pauses throughout the day. So before you begin a task that scares the hell out of you, take a silent pause to clear your head, then begin your task. And lastly, journaling is a great exercise. And I learned this from a nun that was my spiritual director a couple of years back. She simply said, dump your problems and concerns to God. So write rich and then journal what is on my mind and give it to God. And then write God and how would God respond to that. And initially I thought she was crazy when she said that, because I said, who am I to respond for God? But then it became a very valuable exercise, because I God began telling me, I don't want you to worry. I don't want you to be anxious. I don't want you to feel this way. You got this. Together we got this. You're not alone. I sit with you in centering prayer, and I get up and walk with you in life, and I'll be with you, and I'll be behind you and pushing you forward, and I'll be with you, walking with you, and I'll be ahead of you, pulling you forward, and I'll be within you, giving you inner wisdom. And these are some of the things that God told me as I did this valuable journaling exercise. And then the last thing I do is I'm constantly rereading my affirmations. As I mentioned, I read them before my centering prayer sits, so I read them at least twice a day. And then I kind of just sporadically look at them as well. So I'm constantly looking at these affirmations and making sure they still excite me, making sure I still have an inner peace about them, making sure some of them are outside of my comfort zone, making sure they won't harm me or others, and tweaking them a little bit, because as I take action on some of them, I need to tweak and change what they are, because I've already accomplished bits and pieces of them. So that's a little bit about, how do I know I'm doing the will of God? I thought I would jump on and talk about affirmations, my barometer, the fact that clarity comes with action, and if you don't take any action, nothing's going to happen and the path won't become clear. And you don't need to know how you're going to get to the end point. You just need to know the next step. Silent pauses are very valuable throughout the day, even for 30 seconds or 1 minute before you begin a task. And journaling. So that's all. Just wanted to pop on and talk about, how do I know I'm doing the will of God? How can you know you're doing the will of God? That's what I use as my barometer to help me know if I'm doing the will of God. So I hope that has helped you. And if you have your own way of discerning the voice of God, I'd love to hear it. So feel free to message me, or feel free to even put them on the comments here on my video. Thanks for listening. I see Benjamin Lewis has joined. You love your son. Thanks for popping on and listening to Dad. Thanks for everybody that's watching now, and thanks for the people that will watch it on the replay. Hope everybody has a great weekend wherever you are. Much love to all of you.